It's hard to believe, but it's true that there are vegetables, thought to be miracle drugs, that can silently harm the heart, especially for people over 60 years old. This is not about eating less or more vegetables. It's about eating the right vegetables, in the right way, at the right time, suitable for the body that is aging every day. Video topic statement. In today's video, we will explore 10 common mistakes when eating vegetables that many elderly people are making. These mistakes not only reduce the benefits of vegetables, but also silently contribute to pushing your heart to the risk of weakening, even though you are trying to live as healthy as possible. Value promise. If you ever thought vegetables are always good for the heart, this video will open up a completely different perspective, not to confuse you, but to help you understand better, make smarter choices, and protect your heart with the right knowledge. Smooth transition to the main content. Let's start with the first mistake, the vegetable that most of us think is harmless, even very good, but is causing many elderly people to silently face the risk of cardiovascular disease. In San Diego, Mr. Frank, 71 years old, is a very scientific person. Every morning, he prepares a large salad full of kale, spinach, and a little extra virgin olive oil. He calls it breakfast for the heart. But after only 6 months of maintaining this regimen, he found himself tired, his heart rate was slower, and his blood pressure was higher than before. During a routine heart checkup, the doctor asked him if he ate a lot of green leafy vegetables. Frank laughed, "I eat a lot of them." But the doctor's answer made him speechless. Vegetables are good, yes. But if you are an older person, eating too many vegetables rich in oxalate or nitrate can put more pressure on your heart. Explaining why this happens, green leafy vegetables like kale, spinach, beet greens, and even asparagus are all rich in oxalate and nitrate. For young people, this may be good for cleaning the blood vessels, but for the heart and kidneys of people over 60, which have already begun to lose their filtering and metabolism functions, oxalate can easily accumulate, causing inflammation and forming calcium crystals in soft tissues, especially in the heart valves and coronary arteries. In addition, nitrate when entering the body can be converted into nitrite, then into nitric oxide, which helps dilate blood vessels. But if the body does not process it well, especially in the elderly with poor liver enzymes, the remaining nitrite can damage red blood cells and reduce oxygen to the heart. Real-life examples, not just Frank. A study at the Mayo Clinic found that older adults who ate large amounts of spinach and kale each day had a higher risk of electrolyte disturbances, increased urinary oxalate, and vascular calcification than those who ate a variety of seasonal vegetables. Some patients who were hospitalized for persistent chest pain but no obstruction were eventually found to have stiffened heart valves due to calcium microcrystals accumulating from vegetable oxalate. A quick lesson: adjusting to eat right. Don't eliminate leafy greens altogether, eat a varied, balanced diet. Add low oxalate vegetables like broccoli, squash, or carrots. And if you like spinach or kale, boil it first and then drain the water, which reduces oxalate by 40 to 60%. A small but golden rule: if a vegetable dish makes you feel full, indigestion, or tired after eating it, your body is signaling that it has had enough. Leafy greens are not the enemy, but if eaten incorrectly, they can become a burden on an aging heart. And if you think that delicious, liver-cooling vegetables like cucumbers, bean sprouts, or cabbage are a safer choice, wait until the next part. Because the second mistake comes from that seemingly harmless freshness. Mrs. Linda, 67, living in rural Oregon, is a person who always believes in the power of nature. Every meal, she has a plate of lightly boiled broccoli or cauliflower. She once read somewhere that eating cruciferous vegetables every day helps prevent cancer and keep the heart young. But then one day, she felt a dry throat, a fast heartbeat, and even a little shaking in her hands. Thinking it was due to lack of sleep, she ignored it. It wasn't until her doctor discovered she had mild hypothyroidism, and what was even more surprising was that part of the cause came from the vegetables she believed were the best. Here's the obvious explanation why it happens. Cruciferous vegetables like broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, and Chinese cabbage contain a group of natural substances called goitrogens. These are compounds that can interfere with the absorption of iodine by the thyroid gland, a small but extremely important gland in regulating heart rate, blood pressure, body temperature, and even energy levels during the day. As people age, especially postmenopausal women, the thyroid gland often becomes more sensitive and weaker. Eating large amounts of raw or lightly steamed cruciferous vegetables every day can silently slow down the thyroid gland, causing symptoms such as fatigue, slow heart rate, or hormonal disorders. In addition, the high raffinose content in these vegetables can easily cause bloating, flatulence, and pressure on the heart, especially when the elderly's digestive system works less effectively than children. Young people. Real-life examples, not just Linda. A Harvard study analyzed more than 5,000 older adults and found that those who ate large amounts of cruciferous vegetables every day for more than 6 months had a 21% increased risk of mild hypothyroidism if they did not get enough iodine or did not eat a balanced diet with other vegetables. In the next part, you will see why the combination of herbs and cardiovascular drugs can become an unpredictable danger. As we age, our bodies are no longer as flexible as when we were 30 to 40. What was once healthy suddenly becomes dangerous just because of small changes in metabolism and the type of drugs you are taking. And this is not only true for herbs. In the next part, we will come to a vegetable considered the health queen, but can cause blood vessel blockage if not eaten properly: asparagus. The opening story: when living healthy makes the body resist. Mrs. Janice, 68, living in Santa Fe, has always been a pioneer in healthy living trends in her group of friends. She walks every morning, does yoga 3 times a week, and especially never starts the day without a green smoothie. I put spinach, kale, celery, some frozen mango and almond milk in the blender, she proudly recounted. It feels like I'm being energized by nature. But in recent months, Janice has started to feel strange. A dull ache in her left hand. Her knees ache when it's cold. And the worst part, she has to go to the doctor to get checked out. The results? Her urine oxalate levels are abnormally high, and there are signs of small stones forming in her kidneys. The doctor asked her if she eats a lot of dark green leafy vegetables, and she laughed. I drink a whole glass every day. The explanation: oxalate and the burden on the body after 60. Green smoothies aren't bad. In fact, they're a great way to get vitamins, minerals, and fiber. But after 60, the body starts to lose its ability to filter and excrete complex compounds like oxalate. Oxalate is a natural compound found in many vegetables such as spinach, kale, beet greens, etc. When oxalate combines with calcium in the kidneys, it can form calcium oxalate crystals, the main ingredient that causes kidney stones. In addition, oxalate also stimulates a mild inflammatory reaction in the joints, causing pain, extremely unpleasant for the elderly. The danger is, oxalate is tasteless, odorless, and accumulates silently over time. Real-life example: many people are drinking it wrong without knowing it. According to a survey by the Cleveland Clinic, nearly 40% of people over 60 regularly drink green smoothies every day without knowing they are absorbing too much oxalate. Some people even skip breakfast and only drink smoothies. This causes the stomach to absorb oxalate faster, increasing the burden on the liver and kidneys. Ironically, it is those who try to live healthy who are inadvertently harming their bodies. Little lesson: living healthy does not mean more is better. We all want to live long, live healthy. But sometimes, too much of a good thing becomes a bad thing, especially when the body is old. Processing natural compounds like oxalate becomes more difficult. Instead of drinking a green smoothie every day, drink it 2 to 3 times a week, and rotate the ingredients. Use cucumber, lettuce, or low oxalate fruits. Pair the smoothie with a snack to reduce the absorption of oxalate quickly. If you have ever had kidney stones, arthritis, or digestive problems, talk to your doctor before regularly drinking green smoothies. Janice reduced her smoothies 2 times a week and replaced spinach with lettuce. After only 2 months, her hand pain was gone, and the feeling of fatigue gradually disappeared. Living healthy does not mean drinking as much as possible, but listening to your body and adjusting at the right time. And sometimes, the foods that seem to rejuvenate can actually damage your body as you age. In the next part, we will explore why asparagus, a vegetable considered good for the kidneys, can increase uric acid and the risk of gout in the elderly. Vegetables and blood pressure, not always companions. Mr. Walter, 72, living in the state of Oregon, used to be a traffic police officer, a careful, disciplined person who always followed the doctor's instructions. When his blood pressure started to rise slightly at the age of 69, he decided to change his diet. Eat less salt, drink more water, and especially eat a lot of vegetables. His wife recalled, he switched to eating salads twice a day, celery, red beets, cherry tomatoes, some pickled radishes and green olives. I even joked, my husband is like a rabbit now. However, the opposite happened. After 3 months, his blood pressure did not decrease, but increased, from 135/85 to 150/90. The doctor was surprised. Mr. Walter was disappointed, and they started to look more closely at the vegetables he ate. To clarify, some vegetables that seem good but trick blood pressure. In many people's minds, vegetables always help lower blood pressure, but the reality is not that simple. Some vegetables have water-retaining properties, are naturally high in sodium, or stimulate the production of hormones that cause vasoconstriction, leading to increased blood pressure. Potential culprits include celery, rich in apigenin, a flavonoid that can lower blood pressure slightly, but when eaten in large quantities, it stimulates the secretion of aldosterone, a hormone that retains salt and water. Pickled radishes, pickles, contain very high amounts of sodium, even if you don't feel the obvious salty taste. Salted olives in brine. Every 5 can contain nearly 200 milligrams of sodium, equivalent to 10 to 15% of the recommended daily intake. Canned or sun-dried tomatoes also often come with added salt or preservatives that cause water retention. Real-life example, common mistake in clean diets. Many older adults are following a Mediterranean diet with lots of vegetables, olives, tomatoes, feta cheese, without paying attention to the hidden sodium content in each ingredient. A 2023 study by the American Heart Association found nearly 30% of older adults who follow a vegetarian or Mediterranean diet still have high blood pressure, not due to lack of medication, but due to consuming too much sodium from seemingly healthy foods. A quick lesson, not all vegetables are your friends when it comes to blood pressure. We grow up believing that vegetables are good for you, but as we age, our bodies become more sensitive to salt, water, and hormones. What was a golden food when we were 40 can now be harmful when we are 70. Choose fresh, unsalted, unmarinated vegetables. Always read the labels of packaged foods, even olives and pickles. If you are monitoring your blood pressure, write down what you eat each day and see how your body responds. Sometimes just cutting out one type of pickled vegetable can stabilize your blood pressure. After adjusting his diet, cutting out celery, pickled olives and canned vegetables, Walter's blood pressure dropped to 130/80 in 4 weeks. No medication needed, just a few lifestyle changes. This shows us that being smart about your food choices is the key to staying healthy after 60. And in the next section, we'll look at a vegetable that seems to be very cleansing, but it can secretly increase uric acid and the risk of gout if not used properly. It's the same vegetable, but how you cook it determines the fate of your heart. 68-year-old Helen is a cooking enthusiast in Georgia. Her kitchen is always cozy, filled with the scent of roasted vegetables and green vegetable soup. She used to think, if you just choose the right vegetables, your heart will be healthy. But then a small incident made her reconsider. During a routine checkup, her cholesterol was slightly elevated, especially LDL, the bad cholesterol. She was surprised to find herself eating all vegetables. After a more in-depth conversation with a nutritionist, they discovered that the culprit was the way she prepared her vegetables, explaining how cooking affects heart health. You may have chosen the right vegetables, spinach, broccoli, bell peppers, eggplant, but if you deep fry, stir fry with butter, burning or charring the edges, boiling for too long, making the vegetables mushy and losing nutrients, all the initial benefits are lost or worse, become a burden on the heart. For example, when you fry spinach in butter, the saturated fat from the butter can increase bad cholesterol. Grilling vegetables at high temperatures for a long time produces acrylamide, an oxidant linked to vascular inflammation. Overcooking vegetables loses folate and vitamin C, essential nutrients for controlling blood pressure and protecting blood vessels. Real-life example, a small change, a big improvement. Mrs. Helen decided to change. Instead of frying, she steamed her vegetables lightly, or sautéed them in olive oil at low heat, or ate them raw with apple cider vinegar and crushed walnuts. After 3 months, she returned to the clinic with results that made the doctor smile. LDL decreased by 18 points, HDL, good cholesterol, and she felt easier to breathe, slept better, and no longer had slight palpitations after each dinner. A small lesson: eating vegetables is not enough, but cooking them properly. We often focus on what to eat, but after 60, how to eat is even more important. The heart and blood vessels become more sensitive, no longer strong enough to filter out free radicals produced by improperly cooked food. Prioritize steaming, quick boiling, or light stir-frying with good oil. Avoid deep frying or over-baking. If you cook for an older family member, remember, a minute slower in the kitchen can add years to your health. Also, don't forget to supplement natural iodine from clean sea salt or seaweed if you eat a lot of cruciferous vegetables. If you start to feel colder, your heart beats slower, or you get tired more easily, don't just think about age. Sometimes, it's a whisper from an overworked thyroid. We often think of vegetables as healthy, absolutely healthy. But as we age, the way our bodies process healthy and harmful foods changes. And if colorful vegetables can upset the thyroid, are the simplest ones, like cucumbers, celery, or daikon, completely safe? Harold, 74, is a gardener. Every morning, he goes out to the backyard to pick a few red tomatoes, eagerly chopping them into a salad with some grilled eggplant slices. He believes it's the best way to stay healthy and stay away from drugs. But then, his knees started to ache every time the weather changed. His fingers became stiff in the morning, making it difficult to hold a spoon. His doctor diagnosed him with rheumatoid arthritis, a fairly common condition in older people. However, what surprised him was that the very vegetables he cared for and loved were partly to blame for the silent worsening of his condition. Clearly explain, what are nightshades and why do they affect inflammation? Tomatoes, eggplants, potatoes, bell peppers are all in the nightshade family. These vegetables contain a natural compound called an alkaloid, specifically solanine. In some sensitive people, especially older people with reactive immune systems, solanine can trigger inflammation in soft tissues and joints. This substance does not cause immediate harm, but when accumulated or eaten too often, it can aggravate the symptoms of arthritis, muscle pain, and stiffness, problems that are already present in the elderly. Real-life examples, not just Harold. A small study at the University of Florida followed 78 people over 60 with knee arthritis. Within 4 weeks of completely eliminating nightshades from their diets, 65% of the participants reported significantly reduced pain, and they had more flexibility. Meanwhile, Ellen in California, who used to drink tomato juice every morning because she thought it was good for her heart, did not understand why her knees were getting more and more painful. After her doctor suggested stopping the nightshades for a while, the pain was significantly reduced after only 2 weeks. Little lesson, listening to your body is key. Not everyone reacts badly to tomatoes or eggplant. But if you're over 60 and dealing with joint pain, chronic inflammation, or unexplained fatigue, try eliminating nightshade vegetables for 3 to 4 weeks. Watch for changes. Sometimes your body is talking to you, but you're just not listening. If you still want to reap the benefits of tomatoes, like lycopene, an antioxidant that's good for your heart, choose ripe, well-cooked red tomatoes, as heat will help break down most of the solanine. Peel and roast eggplants thoroughly, and avoid eating them raw or undercooked. Age brings many changes, and sometimes what was good for you when you were younger may not be as good for you as you get older. Individual slices of tomato or eggplant may be harmless, but when they accumulate over time, they can become a burden on your already tired joints. What about other common vegetables like daikon, cucumber, or celery? Are they really as good as we think? Margaret, 68, is a picky eater. After retiring, she spent most of her time researching nutrition, reading books on clean eating, and experimenting with new recipes. One of her favorites was a spinach smoothie with strawberries, topped with chia seeds and a little almond butter. Sounds pretty healthy, right? But in recent months, she started to feel something was wrong. Her lower back ached every morning. After a routine checkup, her doctor discovered signs of small kidney stones and high levels of calcium oxalate in her urine. What surprised her most? The foods that seemed pure gold for health were actually harming her kidneys. Explained what oxalates are and why they become dangerous as we age. Oxalates are natural compounds found in many foods: spinach, beets, almonds, chia seeds, sweet potatoes, chocolate, soybeans, and even black tea. When eaten, oxalates combine with calcium in the body. In young people, healthy kidneys can eliminate them quite easily. But after the age of 60, the kidneys begin to work less effectively. The intestines also absorb calcium less, causing more free oxalates to accumulate in the blood and go down to the kidneys, forming small crystals, the premise for kidney stones. In addition, oxalates can also deposit in joints, soft tissues, causing inflammation and pain, especially in people who already have chronic diseases. Real-life example, many people don't realize the connection. A study at the Mayo Clinic found that the rate of kidney stones in people over 65 has nearly doubled in the past 20 years, largely due to an overly clean diet that is high in oxalates. Mike, 72, used to eat baked sweet potatoes every night to control his blood sugar. But persistent back pain for no apparent reason led him to have a kidney endoscopy, and it was discovered that the stones had formed months earlier. And a young niece, who had been on a keto diet with dark leafy greens for 3 months, was hospitalized with acute kidney stones. This shows that oxalates are not a problem for older people only, but as we get older, our bodies have a harder time processing them. A small lesson: not all green is good. We often believe that the more green vegetables we eat, the better, but not all types are suitable for an aging body. Spinach, beets, almonds are good when eaten in moderation, and especially should be boiled, combined with a suitable source of calcium to reduce oxalate absorption. A simple tip: replace spinach with kale, much less oxalate. Switch from almond butter to pumpkin seed butter. And if you drink black tea every day, drink more water and occasionally switch to chamomile or mint tea. Taking care of your body after 60 is not about suffering abstinence, but understanding and gently adjusting to live healthier longer. We have just discovered a green mask, oxalate, which seems harmless, but can silently harm the elderly. But there are still other vegetables, not on the list of many people to be wary of, such as celery, parsley, or dill, that can interact with drugs and cause sudden drops in blood pressure. Smooth transitions from the kitchen to the natural pharmacy. A meal is where health begins. And the right preparation, whether it's a plate of vegetables or a smoothie, can be the best medicine you give your heart every day. A story of two friends who are the same age but eat differently. Richard and Alan have been best friends since high school in Ohio. Both are in their 70s, and like many people their age, they care deeply about eating to keep their hearts healthy. When their doctor recommended eating more plants, they were both excited to start a plant-based diet. But after 3 months, the results were very different. Richard's health improved dramatically. His blood pressure was stable, he slept better, and he had more energy. Alan, on the other hand, had bloating, worse joint pain, and felt tired all day. What happened? The explanation: not all plant-based diets are right for everyone. A plant-based diet is not a one-size-fits-all diet, especially if you're over 60. There are many reasons: genetics. Some people metabolize carbs from vegetables very well, while others have blood sugar buildup despite eating vegetables. Digestive system. People with weak digestive systems or enzyme deficiencies may have difficulty absorbing fiber or FODMAPs from plant foods like beans, cabbage, and onions. Underlying conditions. People with kidney disease, arthritis, gout, or thyroid disorders should avoid vegetables that are high in potassium, purines, or oxalates. This doesn't mean you should give up vegetables, but rather choose the vegetables that are right for you. Real-life example: small adjustment, big results. Mr. Allen went back to his doctor and got a more detailed consultation. It turned out that he had a mild allergy to tomatoes and bell peppers, the nightshades, and his digestive system also reacted poorly to soy and raw onions. After adjusting his diet, switching to easy-to-digest steamed vegetables like zucchini, well-cooked lentils, and adding some fatty fish to his meals, his inflammation decreased, and he felt better again. The key is to listen to your body, not copy someone else's menu. A small lesson: a plant doesn't mean the same for everyone. Your body has its own voice. One vegetable may be a tonic for one person, but an irritant for another. Instead of following a model diet, create a diet that works for you. Keep a journal of how your body reacts after each meal. Work with your doctor or healthcare provider nutritionists if possible, They can help you personalize each vegetable. Once we understand that not all vegetables are good for all people, we begin the journey of eating smart, not just right, but right for our bodies. And once we've chosen the right vegetables, prepared them properly, the most important thing is how to stick with that habit long term. Because heart health doesn't come from one perfect meal, it comes from small, good choices repeated every day. Let's move on to the final part, where we learn how to turn today's insights into daily actions. Easy to do, easy to maintain, and inspiring. A gentle story from the backyard. Mary, 72, lives in a small house in suburban Tennessee. Every morning, she goes out to the backyard garden, which has a few small vegetable beds, not many, just a few squash plants, some amaranth, spinach, and a bunch of parsley. She often tells her granddaughter, "I don't need to eat a lot of vegetables, just the right ones. Vegetables that are gentle on the heart, kind to the stomach, and don't give me joint pain." Mary has come up with her own safe list, and it's something many people in their 60s and 70s need to know. Which vegetables are your heart's best friends as you age? The explanation: not all vegetables are suitable for older people, but some are extremely friendly. Here are some vegetables that research has shown to be best for the cardiovascular and digestive systems of older people because they are low in inflammation, easy to digest, and low in oxalates or anti-nutrients. 1. Butternut squash, pumpkin. Rich in beta-carotene, potassium, soluble fiber, helps regulate blood pressure and reduce inflammation without causing bloating. 2. Spinach lightly steamed. Provides folate and iron, but remember not to eat it raw if you have kidney stones. Steaming will reduce oxalates. 3. Asparagus. Good for the kidneys and helps the body excrete salt, helps regulate blood pressure. 4. Zucchini. Low in oxalates, gentle on digestion and non-irritating, great for older people. 5. Amaranth greens. Less noticed, but rich in calcium, magnesium, easier to digest than other dark leafy greens. 6. Cooked carrots. Beta-carotene helps protect the arteries and is naturally sweet, so it's easy to eat. Real-life example: when you choose the right vegetables, you'll feel the difference. Mr. Thomas, 68, used to suffer from bloating and mild joint pain every time he ate too much raw salad. After switching to steamed pumpkin, boiled asparagus, and some stir-fried spinach, he felt lighter, slept better, and had less morning joint pain. His wife joked, "Finally, I've found his favorite vegetable and his heart's." Little lesson: focus on age-friendly vegetables. You don't have to eat all vegetables. Just choose the ones that are good for your heart, easy to digest, and don't make your body argue with the meal. Remember, the quality of vegetables is more important than the quantity. A small plate of steamed squash, eaten slowly, is better than a raw salad full of oxalates and nitrates. Now you know which vegetables to avoid, which to prioritize. The final question is, how do you turn this knowledge into a habit? Because vegetables are only truly good when they are regularly present on the table and you eat them with joy, not pressure. So, let's move on to the final part of the video, where we learn together how to turn what you've just learned into a pleasant and heart-healthy rhythm of life every day.